Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on. 72,500, when we last left off, it was really close to this level here, trying to break through that, I think, 72 range, 72K range. And at this point, we see a wick all the way up to 73,660. So we're literally about $200 shy of the all-time high. So definitely exciting times here, but also kind of like, concerning. Like, is the price going to pull back? Is it going to keep going up? Short answer is it's probably going to keep going higher or stay in this range. But we do have some retests here of some certain areas here, and I want to discuss that with you and just kind of recognize the overall sentiment here and where the price could pull back down to if it does, right? Just kind of some heads up on that. And as far as moving forward, when we enter a price discovery, if that were to happen here soon, there are some specific things you want to consider. We can reverse our fibs or consider extensions. But me personally, I think it's purely speculation. And at this point, we want to presume the price will be range bound until it breaks. So let's go and take a look at the liquidation levels in the back end, kind of see what's going on. If you're new to the channel, just want to say thank you so much for watching. Comment below if you get a chance. Love to hear from you. More important, you've been watching my videos for a while, or this is something that is new to you, just hit the like button if you find any benefit. Really appreciate that. Helps grow the channel, gets us in front of more people. So let's take a look here on the left-hand side is liquidation for the last 7 days. More so, we're just going to be zooming into the last 24 hours, kind of see here. Heavier concentrations of liquidation just above 74K. People feel like 74,000 or higher is a pretty safe place, considering the fact that that is essentially above the all-time high, and we've never seen that price yet. So that's a very logical place to put a stop loss and or to have a liquidation event. So at this point, though, we can see there is still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in the range, maybe $7-8 billion loosely between here and 74,000. Okay, so just kind of know that that is there. As far as downside is concerned, the best way to identify that is just to look at the 12-hour time frame, and there is a pretty heavy concentration between 70 and the current price action. 72,000 is a rough estimate. Probably the most amount concentration between 70,700 and 71.2. So just a low 71K range is that heavier concentration of liquidation. When we look at the macro, roughly the same scenario here, just a little easier to summarize. We can see that there are previous and recent liquidation events here, roughly somewhere in the range of about 40 to 50 billion, upwards of 74,300. Now keep in mind, this is just a larger average because it's based over a large time frame, not just the last couple of days. So please recognize the monthly will tell us a different story than the local time. What we do see here, and this is extremely high, this is another reason why the price probably ended up pulling back, because we were upwards of about 12 billion in liquidation delta for longs. Basically just telling us that, hey, we've got $12 billion in liquidations for longs versus, a tremendously smaller amount. It basically pales in comparison for the shorts because they kept getting wrecked, right? Everybody kept shorting every single level, and eventually, they ran out of shorting power, if that's even such a thing. The whole point here is that when you get to anywhere about 10 billion or higher for liquidation delta, it has a tendency of reversing itself and turning itself around. So this starts to continue higher again. We get greedy and we see 74,000. There's a solid chance the price is going to pull back at that level after sweeping the upper level liquidation. Exactly why we look at it, okay? So again, just know that's present there. That's the certain thing. I feel like it's still overextended. And I do personally still feel like we're going to see the 70 to 71K range retested. At the very least, I think low 71s is probable at this point. And let me explain why. So let's take a look at the daily here, first of all. In case you're curious about these red lines in the chart, this is 70,000, the bottom line there, just kind of giving us a baseline of that natural occurring large number. Okay, it's a big round number for the most part, generally construed as a support or resistance. 60,000 was the same, 50,000 was the same. That's the concept. So 70K is that level there. This 71,800 is a previous daily candlestick high, basically. So if you zoom in here, you kind of look, the average price of the price action, I mean, you could even say 71.7, but there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost 10 attempts to break that level. Now that it's broken, we can presume that may be the new support. Okay, so that also lines itself up here with a present 0.236 Fibonacci retracement level, implying that 71,750, 71.8 as a rough estimate is a potential support level for us. And then very last but not least is this daily candlestick closure of 73,100. Bitcoin has never closed above 73,100. Okay, and again, that is reflected here. If you zoom back, out and back, you can see the daily candlestick closure, 73,113. that is the highest point in which we've seen Bitcoin close. All right. And the reason why closures are more important than candle wicks is because that tells you where the entire daily, at the end of that day, what happened versus, at any given time throughout the day hitting its high. So the daily candlestick closures to me are a little more profound. And that's why I usually wait for a daily candlestick closure to make my decision on trading in a lot of cases. Even though Asian markets open up roughly the same time and it can kind of hit the old reset button depending on how greedy the market is, which I do feel Asia is going to probably collect some profits here, because this time yesterday, Asia was in the 69K range when they last closed their trading position, or their traditional markets in Asia. All right, anyways, just some things to kind of be mindful of. Having said all that, daily time frame, what are we doing here? Well, we got some fair value gap down as low as 68,300. I don't personally subscribe to seeing anything under 70,000 in the immediate future. Now that we've broken above, I think we're going to spend some time up here. It's just my speculation, but I hope not, just because we have a short in profit right now at 73,000. Okay. We also have a short with Solana that's close to break even, and a near protocol short that is slightly in the red. So, at this point, all we need is just a little bit of capitulation, and we're going to hit our take profit targets. I'll probably adjust those, folks, just so you know, because I think our previous profit targets with those trades was based on the pre-pump when the market was down yesterday. Yeah, and I don't know if you saw my videos from yesterday morning, but holy cow, everything was bleeding out significantly. And now all of a sudden it's like it never happened. It's just so typical for crypto. Anyways, I want you to walk away with this conversation knowing that we're bullish on Bitcoin. There's no other way around it. We're over 70 in the RSI on the daily. Stochastic swinging up. I don't love money flow index being below the RSI. That leads me to believe this is somewhat of a, I don't know, frail, is that the right word? Or hollow? This is a hollow pump. Granted, there's a lot of volume, don't get me wrong, but if you compare the amount of volume versus the RSI, it's way overextended with less volume to back it up. And this is an average of 14 days. This isn't today's volume, by the way. Today's volume is fantastic. So I don't think we're just going to see a drop immediately. I just think in due time we will see that correction. Speaking of correction, take a look here on the 4-hour time frame. We can recognize that we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 4-hour candles into this continuation pattern here. In other words, we're 24 hours, a full day's worth of overextension. So usually you see a pullback when that happens. Now, granted, you could even argue that we've already seen that pullback. I mean, we went from 73.7 down as low as 71.9. So there was a pretty solid correction there. The first time we've seen a correction in, like 48 hours or something like that. It's crazy. However, at this point, we need more time to consolidate here in order for us to leg up again, or hypothetically, we pull back even further and continue lower. But so far, we got some pretty aggressive doji candles here. If you can see, this is a graystone doji candle, supposed to signal reversal. However, we got this hammer up, Morningstar doji, if I'm not mistaken, that essentially lets us know that Bitcoin doesn't give a crap. It wants to go higher. But again, I still think that it's just not enough selling pressure, and perhaps I think our feel that Asia here in a couple of hours should sell us off back down to this 71.8, perhaps even the 71,000 range, the lower 71K range. All right. Other than that, let's see here. 4-hour time frame. RSI is still over 70. This is generally construed as a do not close your long position type of situation. Even though I do recommend closing your long, I feel like we're not going to see too much higher just yet. Everything here so far is telling us the price could continue further up. Okay, it's just that money flow index at 98 and RSI at 83. Those are like unheard of numbers. You don't see that very often at all. Okay, generally speaking, when those are unheard of and less likely, do you want to really take the odds of getting a couple more dollars to the upside, or do you feel like maybe waiting for a slight pullback and getting a better long would be more appropriate? Just depends on what kind of trader you are personally. Me, I'm going to be conservative. I'm going to wait for the price action to pull back. We secured, somewhere in the range of 40% on our Bitcoin long, and that was a long taken from 67,300. So anyways, good stuff there. We got like 5% left in that trade that's just kind of running. So if we hit 74K, we'll get a little more profit of it, but not that big of a deal. Right now, I think it's more important to recognize that a pullback would make perfect sense, even though the market right now is full of nonsense. There's nothing really logical about what we're seeing here as far as, a technical phenomenon or whatever the case is. This is basically a phenomenon in a lot of ways, right? Because again, all-time high, people get this weird kind of euphoria, and it's a very strange thing. So again, you're probably going to have better luck right now FOMOing into a lot of coins, but me personally, from just being a professional trader for a very long time, I can tell you stuff like this doesn't really faze me too much. I'd much rather wait for a pullback that never happens than to jump into a bad trade. Okay. Again, that's just me personally. You do what works best for your risk tolerance. Everyone's different. It's all good. There's no real right or wrong, I guess you could say. There's better ways of doing things, I guess. Anyways, Ichimoku Cloud confirming here that we have no reason to consider closing your position. Again, just kind of confirming that it's not saying to take a long, but this is basically just an open door, letting you know that you're probably going to find more success going up than down, at least at this point. And again, 71,800 is a rough estimate, is that area of support for the cloud. So the likelihood of the price, if it comes back down, we should see some support there. It all depends on how the patterns though. I mean, honestly, if we keep doing this lower high, lower low thing, then we will inevitably break down. Okay, that's a very common characteristic. But if we just so happen to kind of flag out and the price action continues to consolidate, we could see another leg up that's pretty aggressive. But it would require the price action to pull back, consolidate, because this is just nothing but greed here, folks. I mean, come on, $10 billion delta in liquidations, like that is just absolutely insane. Generally, we see 8 to 10 billion and the price pulls back. You maintain that level for too long, and we're going to have problems. So if we don't see that thing correct itself soon, we're going to probably see a pretty massive correction here. So either way, you've been warned. If you're in a long, adjust your stop loss higher. Don't get super greedy. It is crazy, crazy, crazy to get greedy in this current market. Again, that's just me personally. But I'm not much of a greedy trader personally. I like to secure profits whenever possible, and that's just me. All right. I hope you learned something today. Thanks so much again for watching and tuning in. Please hit the like button if you get a chance. Join us over at Bitunix. Awesome exchange link down below for these guys. No KYC or VPN required exchange. It's our community favorite. And I look forward to work with you all. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see ya.